What's up, everybody? Welcome to Podcast Now. I'm Alex, and this video, I want to talk about the 10-year anniversary for Scream 4. Now, before anybody corrects me in the comments, okay, because I'm sure that'll happen, I want to address it in the first 10 seconds. I understand Scream 4 came out April 15th. Today is April 13th. The thing with YouTube is sometimes it takes a couple days for videos to get going, so I get that the birthday is in 2 days. Some people will be watching it in 2 days. Just want to clarify, okay? But I want to make this video as a celebration, kind of talking about Scream 4. You know, we've talked, obviously, we talk at length on the next Scream movie, right? And as we get closer, and I did have teased this before, but as we get closer, like probably in the fall, I do want to have, like, maybe even months dedicated to the specific movies. We'll still talk about Scream 5, and that'll be a reoccurring thing, but I want to have, like, a lot of videos talking about Scream 1, Scream 2, 3, you know, etc. Maybe even the TV show. I know a lot of people have various opinions on the TV show, but maybe we could do that too. So, you know, I want it to, basically what I'm saying is, I don't just want to cover Scream 5 forever, and I don't want that to be the thing that I only cover for the next year, you know, until we get the movie. I want to, you know, be able to talk about characters and topics and all that stuff of past movies, and that's what I want to do. And I think this is a perfect time for a 10-year, I can't believe it's been 10 years since Scream 4. So really quickly, before I jump into it, I want to do the promotional part of this video. Make sure, if you guys are new here, or if you've been here but you haven't yet, make sure you guys are subscribed. Make sure you guys have the bell icon turned on so you know when all these videos go up. And if you guys want to follow me over on Twitter, Podcast Now 15 is my Twitter handle. We broke 2,000, so I greatly appreciate all of you guys that follow me over there. Now we're just going up and up, right? So link for it's always in the description, or obviously you can look me up on Twitter. All right, I don't think it would be fair to talk about Scream 4 in a anniversary kind of mode without telling you my history with Scream 4. So here's the deal. I've actually only, this is very interesting, right? I've only watched Scream 4 from start to finish one time. You know, you'll see as I've covered Scream, like, recommended videos on YouTube start popping up more and more often on Scream, and probably weekly, especially when it was, like, around the anniversary of Scream 1, and as we were in, like, the news cycle of Scream 5, you saw, or at least I saw on YouTube, a lot of people, they would post, like, first time, or my girlfriend's first time watching Scream, or my first time watching Scream 2, stuff like that. Like, I've always wanted to be a part of that. I always wanted to do it myself. The sad thing is, I've watched all the movies at least once. I've only watched Scream 3 one time. I've only watched Scream 4 one time, from start to finish. Now, I've seen clips multiple times. I've watched, like, behind-the-scenes stuff, and, like, developer diaries, because I talk about games so much. But, you know, like, behind-the-scenes commentary, stuff like that. So, I think I know, I know enough about Scream 4. I know what it was originally going to be, you know, all the Kevin Williamson stuff that we've heard behind the scenes. So, like, I don't want, you know, I hopefully nobody twists and says, wow, you can't be a Scream fan if you've only seen, obviously there's, like, a quota. You have to watch Scream 482 times in order to officially be, you know, part of the Scream fan club. Hopefully there's nobody out there that actually thinks that, because I think anybody can really be a fan of anything under pretty much any circumstance. But yeah, I've only watched it one time. I didn't watch it when it came out. That's the other thing. So, you know, it's the 10th anniversary of the movie releasing. It's not the 10th anniversary of me, you know, watching it. I'm 24. I'm turning 25 soon. So I was 14. I've said it before. I'm a huge baby when it comes to horror. Now, I get that Scream is not really, it's not really horror. So I didn't know, but here's the deal. I didn't know that, okay? I actually met Neve Campbell. She was at the Toronto Fan Expo back, I believe, in 2015. Got my picture taken with her, talked with her just a little bit. Not in, like, I would love an interview fashion, but you know, we're not all that gifted as some people are, right? But, you know, I have always loved it, and I feel like I watched all of the Scream movies right around the time of Scream 4, because I remember watching trailers for Scream 4. I remember kind of being into it because I had heard of Scream, and then I think probably like a year or so later, I watched all of them. I watched them all online, so I watched just Scream 1 through 4, and I love them. I absolutely love them. So my opinion with Scream 4, I think, is definitely more positive than, well, I would say most people, but I think Scream 4, to me, gets kind of like the bad, like a bad reputation. I feel like it's a good movie. I also feel like it's a good Scream movie. I've been watching, now I watched Scream 1 and 2 recently, like most recently. I haven't watched Scream 3 in a very, very long time, and I haven't watched Scream 4 in a very, very long time. And I'm going to watch all of them one more time right before Scream 5, so I'm kind of, like, holding out for that. But, like, rewatching Scream 1 and 2, like, you can pick out certain things that are, you know, I would say for Scream 1, the things you're picking out are probably always positive things. Scream 2, there's a lot of positives, but then you're like, you didn't like killing Randy was probably a stupid idea, and there's a couple of things that like logic just goes out the window for some reason, which is not really in Scream's DNA, which kind of upsets me. So like when you watch, what I'm saying is, as you watch these more than once, or as you like critically watch them maybe, right, you can definitely pick out some stuff that maybe you don't like about it. So when I first watched Scream 4, I really enjoyed it. So I don't know what it's going to be like, and I'll tell you when I do it. I don't know what it's going to be like when I do go back and watch Scream 4 and say, all right, like let's really analyze this. How does this fit with the four of them, right? You know, how does it hold up to some of them? I think Scream 1 is always like the best one. It's always the blueprint. Scream 2 is really good, but I don't think it lives anywhere near close to 1. 3, same kind of, I don't think Scream 3 is the greatest movie of all time. I also don't think it's the worst thing of all time, but again, it definitely doesn't match Scream 1. And then Scream 4, you know, I don't know if it's my second favorite. I feel like Scream 2 is probably my second favorite, but I really liked Scream 4. I liked the modern age. Now, like, I grew, you know, my birthday is in 96, okay? So I was born in the year that Scream came out. So, like, I was never going to watch 1 through 3. So this was the first, again, I was 14 at the time. And I didn't watch it, I think, when I was 14, probably 15 when I watched it. But, you know, this was the first modern Scream movie that was ever created, and really the one kind of for me. You know what I mean? I look at it honestly in terms of music too. When you listen to music, if you listen to music in your era, so like a band that maybe you've loved throughout the entire time, but maybe you listen to the one era when you were, you know, most into it first, and it's like, okay, well, that is obviously gonna be, or like when you were in that kind of age group, that's gonna speak to you in a different way than maybe other people. So if if you're in your 30s or 40s and you watched, you know, 1 through 3 when it first came out, and then you watched 4, yeah, you may have a much more, I mean, I would assume maybe a more negative experience of Scream 4. One thing I do hate is how it's shot, like the lighting, and I get, you know, they've talked about how they did, why they did that and how they did that. I look at them as excuses. Like, obviously they have their reasons, and who am I to like doubt Wes Craven, all that stuff, but I just don't think that was a good idea whatsoever, you know what I mean? But besides that, I think acting-wise, very solid. I think, I don't want to say the word, so like eliminating-wise, it was, they really took it up a level, I think, again, to kind of, not to capitalize, but also to poke fun at. It's a very, like, referential kind of film, right? So they definitely took that up a bunch, obviously having, like, 15,000 openings, which I get is an over-exaggeration. But, you know, they did some stuff that obviously continues to pull it away from what Scream was, and I guess that maybe after Scream 5 comes out, we'll look at Scream 4, like I'll look at Scream 4 and say, okay, maybe it's not as good as I thought, because it really was trying to do the same thing as Scream 5 is now, where it's like, okay, soft reboot, but we bring back the original 3, right, but we're passing it off to a new era of characters, and I would say they did it reasonably well. The best character besides the original 3, in my opinion, is Hayden Panettiere's Kirby, okay, by a mile. I think Jill, played by Emma Roberts, I think she did actually a really good job. So I would say, like, not everybody was good, but let's be honest, not everybody was good in all, I guess Scream 1 again. Scream 1 had a very good ensemble cast, but Scream 2, Scream 3, it started to kind of, bloat itself up. I would say Scream 4 is right on the same thing, where there's definitely loads of forgettable characters, probably the most amount of forgettable characters, maybe as opposed to Scream, or maybe I'd say with Scream 3, but they also had a couple hits. Judy Hicks obviously became a character that people are at least interested in, maybe not necessarily liked, because who knows what kind of past she's had, who knows what kind of character she actually is. She'll be back in this one, so there's room to play with her, in this upcoming movie of how they want to handle her. But it was, I'd say, reasonable. There was a couple hits and there was a lot of misses, but you could argue that was similar to the other movies. And I would say it had a more coherent and understandable story that worked. I would say that's probably the best way of putting it. The story that worked more than Scream 3. Maybe not Scream 2. And again, Scream 2 had a lot of things that just kind of happened to happen. Scream 4 doesn't have as many of that stuff, so I kind of respect it for that. I don't know. Again, I think my general impression is I like this movie. When you're looking back at it for like a 10-year anniversary, I think that you should probably say more positives than negatives anyway, right? It was a movie that I think has become, when you think about it, more of like a failed experiment versus the actual film. And maybe that's a weird way of saying it. But you know what I mean? Like, looking at it now, at least sometimes I look at it, and I wouldn't say all the time, because I do look at it as like its actual movie. But I think a lot of people will sometimes look at it as, okay, this was that, the new what was it, new decade, new rules, or new era, new rules, whatever that slogan was, leading into the movie. I remember like loving whatever. I know I can't remember it, but whatever it was, I actually really liked that kind of tagline leading into it. But I think now people look at it and say, yeah, they tried it. They tried to bring it back, and ultimately it was a failure. I mean, that's kind of the saddest, biggest thing about it, is that was the last Scream movie Wes Craven directed, and it just, I mean, I think it worked. I think there should have probably been more movies. I think, and it made money. It just didn't make a lot of money. But I mean, the sad reality is that was it. That was it, and we didn't get anything else after it. And it took literally, well, at this point, it's going to be almost 11 years until we get Scream 5 from that movie. It should not, that kind of stuff is garbage. I've talked about that with like Pirates of the Caribbean. That I think that's how you literally kill a franchise, is by spacing them out too far. Obviously, every franchise is different. Like Scream, they're trying to do the reboot, and then once they nail it, and once they actually have, once they get their feet moving, basically, then there will not be 10-year gaps in between Scream movies. You know what I mean? But it doesn't help. It doesn't help that the last Scream movie you think about was Scream 4, which was 10 years old. So, there are a lot of negatives, and you ultimately, it is looked at as a failure, because it was supposed to kind of reboot the franchise, go into a new trilogy. There were all these ideas of what you could do with the new characters, even what you could do with Sidney, and then that was literally thrown out. I guess just left, and then probably not really used for this one. So that, again, that does definitely suck, but we look at the positives. I'd say the movie is overall really solid. I like it. Again, I've only seen it one time, and I'm going based off of that memory, and I'm going based off of, because I've watched clips of certain parts of the movie many, many more times than one time, okay? But in terms of, like, seeing it start to finish. So we'll see when it comes to the fall. I'm sure I'll watch it, at least one more time, again, to kind of get ready for the next one. I like it. Want to hear from you guys, though, in the comments below. What do you think? What's some of the memories you think? I mean, what's your first experience like when you watch this movie? What do you think of when you think of this movie? When you think back 10 years ago, or what this movie has meant now, 10 years later. Let me know. As always, make sure you guys are subscribed to this channel. Hit the bell icon so you guys know when all these videos go up. Again, my Twitter, Podcast Now 15, if you guys want to follow me over there. I do a new Scream video every single Tuesday, and so I hope to see you guys for next week's video.